How y'all doing? My name is Trey Hillman Jr. I'm from Miami, Florida. My major is activity management, and my classification is I'm going into my junior year. So today I just wanted to demonstrate what a rice cooker is, and basically a rice cooker is just like a small kitchen appliance. It's mainly used to cook rice. It makes cooking the rice easier because it automatically cooks the rice depending on the model. It can keep it warm after it's finished. So I just want to talk about when you purchase the rice cooker. So when you purchase the rice cooker, there's several things that you should consider. The first thing is the use. You should think about how often you plan on using a rice cooker and how much food you normally prepare. If you cook rice often, the cooking can be very useful. The second consideration is storage space. So rice cookers come in very different sizes. So if you have a small rice cooker, it's good if you have a small amount of space who doesn't really cook a lot. You feel what I'm saying? So the small rice cookers are good for people who don't have a lot of counter or cabinet space. So while the larger rice cookers are used for just families who cooks a lot, who just makes a lot of rice, you feel me, make a lot of food. So it's also digital rice cookers that come in cooking settings and more advanced features. So you should consider the electrical requirements. So a rice cooker uses electricity and plugs into a regular electrical outlet. The amount of electricity it uses depends on the size and model. So since it automatically controls the cooking temperature, it can be convenient and efficient compared with cooking rice on the stove while constantly monitoring it. So another consideration is versatility. So rice cookers they really always limited to just rice. Depending on the model, they can also be used to cook things like oatmeal, steamed vegetables, and just like other foods, if you get what I'm saying. So it's really just a cost. So rice cookers can range from about inexpensive basic models to like more expensive models like with additional features. A basic rice cooker can usually be purchased, I say, around $20 to like $50, while the more advanced cooker obviously will cost more. But the main purpose of a rice cooker is to cook the rice easily and consistently. So instead of having to like constantly watch rice just cooking on the stove, you can measure your rice and water, place everything into the cooker, turn it on, and switch to a warm keep stand after the rice is finished. So that means the rice can stay warm until you're ready to eat. But there are also several features that make rice cookers useful. Some of the main features include the cooking pot, measuring cup, the rice paddle, cooking button, and the keep warm function. So some of the rice cookers also have different settings depending on what you're cooking. So the advanced models may have settings for different types of rice or other foods. But one of the biggest performance benefits is that the rice cooker controls the cooking process for you. So this makes it easier to get properly cooked rice without having to constantly check on it. There are also advantages and there are also disadvantages. So there's a lot of advantages and there are several. So one advantage is that it's very easy to use, very simple to use. You don't really need a lot of cooking experience, I say, to operate one. And another advantage is that it can save time and effort because you don't have to constantly monitor the rice. It can also cook rice consistently and use the correct amount of rice and water. But there are also disadvantages. And one disadvantage is that it takes up storage or counter space. And what I mean by that is if you don't really have a lot of space to put new things in like a rice cooker, it can cause a problem. And also basic rice cookers may have fewer functions compared with the advanced models. And yeah, so lastly, if the rice sticks to the bottom of the cooking pot, it can take, you feel me, very extra effort to clean. And I know like you wouldn't like that to do extra stuff to clean the bottom of a cooking pot. And now I want to just talk about maintenance. So maintaining a rice cooker is obviously, like, you feel me, it's pretty simple. So before cleaning it, I would just make sure that the rice cooker is unplugged and completely, like, when I say completely, like, it needs to be cooled down. So the removable cooking pot can be taken out and washed with soap and water. So the rice paddle and measuring cup should be clean after use. So you have to make sure you clean after you use that. So for the outside of the rice cooker, I would say I would just use a damp cloth so you can wipe it down. But I will say I would never put the electrical base of the rice cooker into the water, because that can mess up and damage the appliance and create an electrical hazard. So I say when storing a rice cooker, I would just make sure it is very clean, completely dry, not wet at all, before putting it away. And I'll say there are also some common problems that cause a rice cooker to not work properly. If the rice cooker doesn't turn on, I would just first check to make sure that it's plugged in and correctly, that the outlets, and make sure that the outlets are working. This is the rice cooker right here. Make sure that it's clean. There's also some history that's behind rice cookers. And you know, rice cookers basically became popular around 1950s in Japan, and they eventually became common all around the world. So it's a lot of history behind that. Now I want to talk about the measuring cups. The small cup that's included in multiple rice cookers is often different from a standard U.S. measuring cup. So many use a traditional rice cooker cup measurement that's around about 180 milliliters. So now I want to talk about the rice to water ratios. There are different kinds of rice and different needs of amount of water. You got brown rice, for example, you know, generally needs more water and longer cooking time than white rice. So now I want to talk about the soaking. Some types of rice benefit from soaking before cooking because it can help the grains cook more evenly. Rinsing rice can remove excess surface starch, which may affect the texture and stickiness of the finished rice. Texture: the amount of water used can change the final texture. So more water usually produces softer rice, while less water produces firm rice. Resting: so after cooking, I say you should just let the rice sit covered for several minutes. It can allow moisture to distribute more evenly throughout the grains. Fluffing rice with the rice paddle after cooking separates the grains and releases excess steam. What I can say is don't overload it. So what I mean by that is putting too much rice or water into the cooker can cause overflow, and that could prevent the rice from cooking properly, and you wouldn't want that. So now foam. Some rice can create foam while cooking. Certain cookers have lids or vents, which is designed to help manage steam and prevent messes. Steam vent. Many rice cookers have a steam vent which allows excess steam to, escape during cooking. Condensation. Water can collect underneath the lid during cooking, so I say wiping the lid and surrounding the areas after use can help prevent buildup, but you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want all that nasty stuff. To wrap everything up, I say the rice cooker is just a very useful appliance because it just makes preparing rice more convenient and takes away some of the work that comes with cooking it. And there are very many different sizes, styles, and features available. So people could choose one based on their needs, their budget, and available space. It's also important to use the rice cooker safely, clean it properly, and you gotta make sure you take care of it so it can continue working effectively. Overall, I think a rice cooker could just be a very helpful appliance, especially for someone who wants an easier way to prepare rice without having to constantly watch it. And that concludes my presentation. I want to say thank you.